Hello, everybody. It's Andrew and Emma, and we're here to bring you another episode of the Pop Kids podcast. This is episode 4. Today, we're going to be talking about the 1986 album, "The Queen Is Dead" by the Smiths. Hold on, is it 85 or 80? I think 86. Yeah, I think I got that right. So, I'll just how are you today, Emma? Are you looking forward to talk about some music? I'm always a little nervous. I think she gets stage fright when we record podcast sometimes. So.
A little bit. Just I'm not. I don't know. I feel like I don't really. I like obviously enjoy music, but I feel like when it comes to talking about it, sometimes and like going into depth, I'm not too good at that. So I kind of get a little bit nervous about that. So
Well, you can just do your best, and I think hopefully our audience will have some sympathy for you. So it's been a while since we recorded. I think it was probably before Christmas, maybe the last time we recorded. Because I moved to a new place from Sudbury in Canada to Toronto, and I've just been either busy with work or just like not in the mood to record. But now that I'm set up a little bit, I can talk some more. So yeah,
yeah.
so we're gonna be talking about "The Queen Is Dead" by the Smiths. I'm happy that Emma was willing to listen to this album because she doesn't have a giant background, or she didn't have a giant background in the Smiths before she listened to this. So it's nice for her to delve into that for me. So I just thought I'd give some background info on it. I'm pretty familiar with the history of the Smiths, but Evan might not be, so this might be helpful for
Yep.
you.
Yep.
So the Smiths were an English rock band. They formed in Manchester, in England, in 1982. There's Stephen Morrissey, who sings, Johnny Marr, who plays guitar and a couple other instruments, Andrew Rourke, who's the bassist, and then drummer Mike Joyce. I think there is another guitarist who came in around 80, 85 to like 87 or so, whose name is Craig Gannon, if I'm remembering right, and he was like a second guitarist when they needed him for certain songs. So they weren't together for a super long time, probably about like the same time the Beatles like were playing. So 82 to 80, I think it's 87 that they broke up. So 5 years, I think, if I'm getting my math right. Um, but yeah, so Johnny Marr, the guitarist, wrote a lot of the basic music for a lot of the songs in The Queen Is Dead when they were touring in England in early '85, and he was working out the segments with Andrew Rourke and Mike Joyce, the drummer, during sound checks. And the title of the album is from a Hubert Selby Jr. novel, which I didn't know this either, so it's nice to know. And the novel is called Last Exit to Brooklyn. And the cover art is featuring a French actor named Alain Delon in the 1964 film Les Sommes-Nuits. And the album was produced by Morrissey and Marr, and they worked with engineer Stephen Street, who also engineered Meet Is Murder, which is from '85. So that's just some fun facts about the record. I think. Do you like the Smiths cover art album, Emma? Because I feel like it's really kind of like unique and cool, and they're kind of a band that thinks about what they put in the covers a lot. Like it's heroes that they idolize or people they think are interesting. I think they have a really cool like image, like graphic art wise. Do you think so?
Yeah. I feel like it's very. It's got a. How do I say? It's like sort of like, I guess I want to say like abstract a little bit, and like the color palette of the cover is pretty nice, I think.
Yeah. They usually put some sort of like color filter over what they're doing, whether it's like
Yeah.
a blue or a pink or for further singles. And I think that makes it quite a bit more creative than just like putting your face in like an album cover
True.
or
True.
something.
Yeah.
Um, Although that works too for some bands and that can look nice.
Yeah.
Um, I guess to recap why I like this Mist for a nice background for people. I just think they're a really um, cool band amongst like some of the other like rock acts that were happening in the '80s. They were on the charts, so like they just have a like not a ton of distorted guitar. They have some like really nice melodies.
Mm.
They didn't seem so like macho and like kind of like chauvinistic as like kind of like heavy rock bands in the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
And they sang about like topics that I related to, and I thought they were really. I thought like as a unit they work really well together. I like their style. I think they're really just like fashionable, and they just seem like nice guys to hang around. They're really kind of like clever and fun. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also there's not a ton of like there's interviews with the band, but there's not like a ton of knowledge about like what happened in between like writing and that kind of thing, other than like the memoirs that Morrissey and Johnny Marr put out. So they're still kind of like a slightly mysterious band, despite them being broken up for quite a while now.
Mm.
But what do you think of this, Miss Emma? Both maybe you could say like both before you listen to this and like after, or yeah, just your thoughts in general. If you could think of some briefly.
Well, I don't. I would say I don't have like a whole general like knowledge about the Smiths, but I would say like before listening to like a full album of theirs, I used to think like a lot of their stuff like usually sounded quite similar. I guess because I don't know if that's really fair to say because I haven't heard like a whole bunch of this stuff, but I heard like quite a bit to sort of make that judgment if that makes sense. But like after getting to hear like a full album like this one, obviously, that ain't I wasn't right. I wasn't correct. And they actually have like quite a bit of variety in their stuff, though they have like a certain sound going for them. Uh they have like sort of a gloomy kind of feel to them, but it's not like super like repetitive, I should say, I guess maybe. So they sort of like have a nice variety to them. They're quite nice, I think, after hearing this album.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd agree with you. I think the sound that they have maintains like the same like it's the same kind of genre, a little bit kind of like light indie rockish or like alternative rock, but
Mm.
it changes enough for me that it still makes it interesting by them like singing about different topics or like using
Yeah.
different instruments
Mm-hmm.
or but yeah, I think it's I think it's good because um it's nice when bands explore like different like types of genres in their music, but
Yeah.
sometimes you don't feel uh like attached to like all the different incarnations. So it's nice to have a band where you feel like um you 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 can connect with what they're doing throughout their whole discography, and I feel like that's what kind of happened with this Miss.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember now. Oh well. I was. Is there anything else you want to say about them before we get into like talk about the songs or?
Uh, um, I guess I'll say they're pretty cool.
I think they're pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember now. I was gonna say I can see how someone that maybe is not super into the Smiths can see they can seem like a lot of the songs are really similar. I guess because they have similar guitar patterns a little bit,
Yeah.
and Morrissey has the same kind of like vocal delivery. So I can see why someone maybe wouldn't like the band because of that reason. Um, and I can see how like Morrissey's vocal delivery is kind of can be alienating or kind of weird to some people. But I think after a while I really dig it myself. Did you get used to it, like his singing kind of style? Or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, that's good. I know they kind of have like a bit of like of a rivalry, but I think like Robert Smith and Morrissey both have like similar kind of not similar ways they sing, but like similar like eccentricities in like their vocal delivery. Like Robert kind of wails a little bit,
Yeah.
and Morrissey has like kind of like lots of like la, kind of like wobbly notes in his singing, and so
Yeah.
I can see why people wouldn't be into them, but I think they're both really good. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll start with the first song, which is the title track, "The Queen Is Dead." It's the longest song on the album, and I remember I didn't when I first like listened to the song, like when it was maybe like 14 or 15. I didn't really like pay attention all the way through, but I think this song has like a lot of like cool production stuff going on with it. I think the drum beat is really great. Um, I think the cool way they play with like the different guitar sounds is neat because Johnny mostly uses the same kind of like chorus pedal is called like sound effect when he plays the guitar. So, but in this song, he kind of like there's different sounds that are throughout it, and I think it makes it like an interesting listen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me see. Hold on, I have some notes here. I'll see if I have anything else to say about this. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna. Mike Joyce's drumming is really great in the song. I think like the drum fill he does is really creative and cool. And I think sometimes when you're working with like a limited kind of like palette, like the drums, like there's like lots of creative things you can do with each of them. But I think there's only like 5 or 6 individual drums, so you can kind of like there's a lot of the same sounds on like certain like rock songs. But so it's nice when drummers kind of like come up with something creative or kind of cool to make you like interested in the drum part.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the production on the drums makes them really like just pop out. Like they're not overpowering anything, but they're there, and you can they sound really cool and upfront, and yeah. And I was gonna say I also have written that the sound effect is from a film called The L-Shaped Room, which I didn't know either. I never really looked it up. I know it was like a sound effect from a film, but I didn't know which one. And I think that little like the "Take Me Back to Zero" Blighty, like it kind of shows that like Morris. I think both Morrissey and Marr they kind of have like this nostalgia for like 50s and like 60s like sitcom and like British television, because it's like a lot of what they grew up on, like watching on TV when they were kids. So I think yeah, I thought that was fascinating, kind of like a little insight into their personalities. Yeah. So what do you think of the Queen is Dead? Do you like it as a song? I mean, do you feel like it lingers too long? Do you feel like it's the right kind of like amount of time? Or
I thought the song was like sort of like, I guess I want to say like mysterious in a way. Like listening to it, I wasn't like too sure of like what was to come soon after, but like also like sort of curious at the same time. Like the title, I feel like the title in itself has like it's already a bit eerie, so like hearing the woman singing like was like hearing that in the beginning gave it more of like a sort of a haunting feel in a way. Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
I think maybe like I don't know exactly what it's about lyrically, but I think it. I know Morsley is not super fond of like the royal family, and he thinks they're kind of outdated. So I think that the title "The Queen is Dead" is saying that like he feels that just like monarchies in England in general and kind of like royal families are kind of like not really needed in today's society. So he feels kind of like it's like useless to like give them money and like continue like doing all these things for them when they don't really do much for the country of England, since they have a president and everything. And I think that's kind of like a generally a pretty like wise like critique. You know, like the royal family is not super useful either. Like nothing against the individuals in it, but they're not really that useful. So I think it's it's an interesting like hindsight from like someone in England.
That's true.
Yeah, I just so anything else you want to say about it? I think it's a cool song. I think it doesn't outstays welcome too much. I think 6.5 minutes is probably good time, because like Morrissey's like telling a story through it, and you feel like captivated, and yeah. Anything else you want to say about it, Emma, or you want to move on to the next one?
I guess I'll say also I think it flows pretty well, like especially like Morrissey's vocals, he kind of yodels a little bit in this song, and yeah, like the consistent drum beat and the bass lines go pretty well together, I think. So
for sure, yeah, I think like I can't think of any songs that I think of where like I'm like, oh, he's meandering a little bit, or like because like some of the long songs I can think of are like Barbarism begins at home, or like Real Around the Fountain. Sorry, I can't talk today. Real Around the Fountain, and like any long Smith songs that I can think of, they all have like they feel like they're going somewhere, and they're not just like you're like, oh, when is this gonna end? So that's nice. So next we got Frankly Mr. Shankly, which I know some fans are kind of, this is the one song on the album they're not super fond of. So since I talked about The Queen is Dead first, do you want to talk about this song, Emma?
Sure.
First of all, do you like it?
Do I like this song? Oh, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say go with the instruments. I think the kick drum with the guitar and the bass in the song reminds me of like, it's kind of similar to the Beatles song Obladi Oblada, a little bit.
Yeah, that a little bit.
Yeah. Also I feel like this song had like a nice break in it that comes in once, has like sort of a reverbing keyboard mixing in with the same beat, so it makes it sound a little bit a little beat, Yeah, but I think it was like a 2-minute song, and
just about. I think it's like 2.5 minutes or so.
Yeah, so I mean, it would have been
pretty short. Yeah,
kind of nice for it to be like a little bit longer, maybe like 3 or 4 minutes or something.
You would like that?
Yeah.
So I think I've learned about like the kind of like the lyrical like theme behind the song. So can you guess, as someone that hasn't researched it, like what the song is about, maybe?
For someone who hasn't
Or
heard the
does
song,
it seem
or
or does
someone
it seem like a little mysterious?
for someone who
Well, I was gonna say for someone that like hasn't like I don't know, maybe you have, but for someone that maybe doesn't know like the history, quote unquote, like behind the song, like can you guess what it's maybe about from like the lyrics and stuff?
uh well um
You feel free to pull them up if you want to, or maybe you can like
well
think of them.
I mean I've done a little bit of research on like who Mr. Shankly is, but I mean for I guess for someone who like doesn't know or hasn't done research on it, I don't know, maybe they think it's like probably I don't know, like
I think it's anyone that's maybe like just like kind of like a pain in the butt or something, or like someone who you like you have to maintain like a friendly relationship with, but you don't really get along with.
right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, did you find the same thing that it was about Jeff Travis, who's like the head of like Rough Trade Records?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, one thing that I didn't know is I thought this song was like a kind of like a mean jab at Jeff, but it's actually just Morrissey and Jeff are fairly close. They're like friends, so
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of like a fun, like poking fun of him. It's not like a mean spirited song. I think it is like kind of like emblematic of like Smith's lyrics in general, but like just kind of like fun, lighthearted joking, and like it kind of shows like some British humor in there a little bit. So I think let me see what I got for like what. So I think it's talking a little bit about like how well not in the song, but I think he was a little upset at Jeff because Rough Trade kind of like was like infamous at like being kind of a small label when the Smiths signed on. So they weren't really accustomed to like marketing and like doing all this promotion for like big bands, right? So I think the Smiths could have gotten higher in the charts if because I think in the 80s and the 90s like song like charting positions were based on like how much like sales you sold. So in like since I like the invention of like records and stuff like that,
Mm.
if you sold a certain amount of records, you get to number 5 in the charts, number 10, number 1, etc. So but because Rough Trade couldn't distribute enough records, the Smiths didn't get as high as they wanted to. Maybe they still got respectable placements. I think they got in like the top 10, sometimes the top 20, that kind of thing, but like not as much as like the band wanted. So interesting stuff.
Ooh.
And I think like other than that, the song is a little bit about like lyrically, like fame and the kind of like compromises you need to make. Because I think when you're in like the public eye, people can like people can like criticize you a lot and kind of like uh what's the word for it? Like focus on like every little minute thing you do, and you're always like making a mistake, you know. So and then yeah, like I was saying, you just have to make compromises sometimes. Like you have to like oh this song didn't really come out the way you wanted, or oh this isn't exactly how you wanted the show to go, just like things that you have to just
Yeah.
compromise with when you're making
Mm-hmm.
any kind of art. So I think it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
um uh yeah, I think musically I think the song is pretty catchy, some good guitar by Johnny. Good stuff, good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
um yeah, what else? Should we move on to the next one, Emma?
Sure.
So I don't have I think these songs are really good, but I don't have a ton to say about these next two songs. So I know it's over. I think it has some really great lyrics in it. I think it's really somber and kind of nice. I think between this and Never Had No One Ever, it shows some really good like um delivery of like Morrissey's vocals and like his songwriting abilities. I think the lyrics are really great. They're really like, kind of like heartfelt, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like he's like sharing some like intimate moments when he sings these two songs. What do you think, Emma?
Mm.
Do you know I'll get too much?
Hmm?
Yeah, I feel like by that groan, you're like you don't like it
Oh
too
no,
much.
no.
Oh no, okay,
Mm-mm.
you're good. Okay.
I was gonna say like despite it having like a sort of like a sad and like gloomy lyrics. For me personally, I kind of like the general like slow rhythm with the
Mm,
song and more like Morrissey's smooth vocals. It does like kind of give the song like sort of a sensual feel a little bit.
mm,
Um, Also, like it has like a nice contrast of like the soft instruments with the bold sounding vocals, and I maybe it's like one of those songs that kind of give like the band their sort of sad image, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think because they always mix like upbeat kind of like sounds with like kind of like depressing or like kind of dark subject matter in their lyrics.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but occasionally they kind of like tone it down a bit and kind of like get serious with songs.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was gonna say I forgot to mention it on Franklin Mr. Shankly, but I think throughout the song there's a really nice mix of like guitar layering and also mixing acoustic guitars and electric guitars in cool ways. Like
Mm.
I think a Big Mouth Strikes Again has an acoustic guitar in it. The Boy with the Thorn in His Side, quite a few other other songs in this album have the acoustic guitar, and I think it's used nicely, and it makes them stand out against like other bands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cool addition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's that song. What do you think of Never Had No One Ever? See, I guess I'll open because I don't have a ton of thoughts. I think it's a good song, and I think Morrissey's vocal delivery is really nice, and it's a good melody. What do you think?
I think it's like just another slow and sensual sort of gloomy song with the jangly guitar with like the slow drum beat makes it have like that really sort of distinct 80s sound to it. Um, what else? I think the drums are like really strong along with the bass as well. And what else? What else? What else? Mm, yeah, also like the repetitive lyrics of when he said, "And I never had no one ever," made the song like really easy to get stuck in your head. I feel like on a random day, you could just find yourself being like singing that part of the song and just because the way it was delivered and the tone from it.
Yeah, I think they have an knack for coming up with kind of like catchy choruses and like phrases and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a good one. It's nice. So we got Cemetery Gates. I think it's do you want to talk about the song first?
uh,
I think it's good stuff.
yeah, I'll say for this one, it's like a very Smith sounding song. You know if that makes sense. Like
Mm.
again, like the signature jingly guitar and sort of like the change of pace in Morrissey's like lyrics and vocals. Um, I think the song's okay. Just because I don't think too much goes on in this track. Like the song structure seems just a bit the same throughout the entire thing, and also it's like a bit short for me.
I can see that.
Yeah. Do you like this song?
I like it quite a bit actually.
Oh.
It's close to one of my favorite songs in the album. There's a couple ones I like more, but I think it's really good. I think the acoustic guitar is really nice. I think it's a great kind of like riff that Johnny has, and I think there's like a lot of kind of clever lyrics in there. And I think again the production is really nice in the song. I think when Morrissey's like talking about like all the different poets and writers he admires, like Oscar Wilde and John Keats and Yeats, like it's a nice kind of like reference to like some people he admires.
Mm.
I thought that was a nice little fun addition, and yeah, just really I think it's really I think also the imagery of like having fun and like having a nice time in like a cemetery is kind of funny and interesting. I guess I just think maybe I don't know if intellectual is the right word, but like maybe kind of like artsy people or like slightly gloomy people are attracted to like the appeal of like the cemetery and like they just find it like kind of a creative place. So I think it's a
Yeah.
fun kind of like
Mm.
scenery for a song.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. What else we got next? We got Big Mouth Strikes Again next. What do you think of that?
What do I think of that? Okay, I guess I'll say it's got those nice echoey echoey voices that appear in and out of the song, kind of add like a nice touch to the entire thing. Um, Also, like it's pretty understandable to why this is like such a popular song from the band because it has like very good production. Um, Also, to me, it sort of sounds like a faster version of the previous song, Cemetery Gates, a little bit to me.
Hmm.
And yeah, has a nice energetic pace to it, a little beat, and has like sort of a little bit of like the similar jingly guitar, like the signature style of it in a way. But it sounds pretty good to me.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of anything else to say. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that I think in between the boy with the thorn in his side, which is the next song, and and sorry, what was the last one we talked about? Then? And Cemetery Gates. In between Cemetery Gates and the boy with the thorn in his side, I think this is kind of like a bit more of a slightly sinister sounding or slightly dark sounding like riff.
Mm.
It's still still kind of like happy sounding and like more upbeat, but I think it's kind of like slightly darker than like some of the other riffs on this album. Um,
Mm.
but I think yeah, really great riff by Johnny, and I think that the lyrics are pretty cool and kind of interesting. I think that like history kind of like quote about like I'll recite it here. So now I know how Joan of Arc felt as the flames
Mm.
rose to a Roman nose and her Walkman started to melt. I think it's kind of a funny or like interesting reference because like that's actually how Joan of Arc died, and it's kind of fun for like history fans to kind of unpack and you know,
Mm.
yeah. And
Huh.
it's not often you get like pop singers talking about like historical figures because it doesn't make for compelling like lyrics most of the time for like a if you want to dance, but I think Morrissey manages it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how many songs about Joan of Arc can you think of? So if you got the two OMD songs, and then this song is a Joan of Arc reference. I can't think of many other songs that talk about Joan of Arc, but maybe if I Google it, I could try and figure it out.
Uh, that's all I can think of too. Maybe that's just some of the biggest ones out there. Maybe.
Also, I was gonna say that I think that maybe lyrically the song is about feeling like you. This is just a guess, but feeling like you feel like a big mouth when you're in having conversation with people, and you say something that can seem slightly odd, or you do something that can seem slightly odd or unusual, and people kind of like look at you a different way. So I think that's where like the
Um,
I've got no right to take my place with the human race kind of like phrase comes in a little bit, like you feel kind of like alienated because of something you do. Yeah, I think that's a
mm,
neat book for a
mm,
song, kind of like classic Smith stuff to talk about like being alienated. But
true. True.
um, what do you think of the boy with the thorn in his side? Do you like that song?
Um, I think this one's okay.
Just okay,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. Just feel like this one sounds kind of the same to a few other ones on this album. Just because like I guess maybe the guitar a little bit, the style of like the guitar and the instruments are just a little bit similar. But I mean, yeah, it's not terrible. I think it's okay. Um, nice wailing vocals from Morrissey, like usual. So
Well, it's
I
good that
think
you at least like
it's a
it.
decent song.
Sorry, what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
It's I'm just saying it's a decent song to me.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. I guess a lot of Smith songs, I feel like I have the same compliments. There's ones that stand out, of course, but like I just think that the guitar playing by Johnny is really good. I think he's
Yeah.
got to come up with catchy riffs and just kind of like nice, really kind of like nice up and down playing. I'm always like harping on to Emma about how much I like Johnny's guitar playing, but I think it's really pretty and nice.
Yeah.
Um, and he doesn't do the like the power chord thing that a lot of guitarists do. He kind of like makes it more intricate and cool. And I think by not playing many solos, he kind of like pushes the music forward, so you're not always concentrated on the guitar, but you're enjoying it. You can like think about the other instruments. I think in a band it's important to like have every piece of the music not feel like it's like trying to be up front. You work with your bandmates and you don't try and like be the star, all the time. So
Mm.
anyway, but yeah, I think it's good stuff, and I think like we were talking about like catchy phrases earlier. I think like the like oh da 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 is like really it's just like a catchy melody. I think it's quite a I think it's a good choice for a single. You know what I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about Big Mouth. I think it's it's interesting that you say that that's you could imagine that being one of their more popular songs, but I think when it came out it didn't chart super high. It charted in like number 26, which like
Oh.
isn't super like high for like the Smiths charting wise. But I think it's yeah,
Well,
it's still a really good song. But
But isn't
Um,
like more big nowadays though, isn't it?
I think so. I think it's probably one of their more known songs.
Mm.
But yeah, next we got Vicar and a Tutu. What do you think of this song? I feel like this one's kind of quite a bit different than some of the other ones. What do you
Mm.
think?
Well, I feel like the overall rhythm of this song kind of gives me like a sort of a Johnny Cash feel, a little bit. Kind
Yeah,
of like,
I put the same thing down on my notes. I was gonna say it's a very
oh
like
really?
I don't know if you heard the term before, but like a very like rockabilly kind of sound like American like 40s, 50s, and 60s like
Yeah, yeah,
rockabilly.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, go on. So you
Mm.
said you think it sounds like Johnny? I can totally picture it sounding like Johnny Cash. I think he has the same kind
Yeah.
of like
Hmm.
twangy kind of guitar sound in this that Johnny has.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't have too much to say about the song. Again, it is a little bit short, and I just sort of feel like a little bit more could have been done with the song if we're a little bit
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
longer.
I think I'd like some more variation a little bit, but I think that the foundation is still really good there.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Um, just to venture a guess, I think it might be about like gender roles and a guy named Vicar like wearing a skirt, um, and like how that's kind of like slightly unusual, but you should accept him doing that even if he is a little eccentric, you know. So I think that's a nice
Mm-hmm.
sentiment for like a song in the '80s. A lot of stuff that wasn't
Uh,
super
yeah.
progressive then. So
Mm,
I think the Smiths are kind of interesting because I know Morrissey's seen as kind of like this like kind of like gay icon a little bit because of his flamboyantness and like how he dresses and that kind of thing. But
mm,
there's not really a most of the Smith songs are kind of like ambiguous as to like what kind of like gender the people are that he's kind of like idolizing or like having romantic relationship with in the songs. So you kind of like pick up these like little innuendos that maybe they might be homosexual or maybe there might be
uh,
like something like that going on to like kind of like um play what's the word? I'm trying to think of the phrase to say. Like makes you guess it like his sexuality. So interesting stuff. I think.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um. Oh yeah, and I was just gonna say that I used to like not really like the song a ton, but now I've grown. It's grown on me a little bit. I think the guitar is catchy. And I like the drum beat and everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
think interestingly, this song kind of predates kind of like Morrissey's like fascination with like the rockabilly type sound because he did a lot of that stuff not immediately after with solo stuff like in '89 and '90, but I think in 1992 and '93 ish he was doing some like rockabilly like sounds a little bit on his album Kill Uncle. So I think it's interesting when you always see
Oh.
bands like predate other stuff they were going to do in the future.
Mm.
Yeah, what do you think of There's a Light That Never Goes Out? Huh? It's probably the most known Smith song. So
Well, I think it's a pretty nice song. I think it's like
pretty nice song too.
something cool to have playing in the background. When you're like probably maybe like working on something or just like maybe hanging out with your friends or whatever. I think like certain lyrics in this song have like catchy flows that can like like certain lyrics in the song can um make you like after you listen to it and like maybe like a few days later or something you can like find yourself singing it to yourself randomly.
For sure, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't have a whole bunch to say about the song. That's pretty much all I have.
Well, that's okay. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice song.
Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, let me check my notes here. Yeah, I was just gonna say that if there's a song that to be known for this is a pretty good one. I think it's like really I think that the poeticness of it is really really great. I think it kind of like encapsulates feeling like you're growing up and you don't really know what you want to do and you're trying to go out with friends but you feel kind of uncomfortable and you're trying to like find your place and you just kind of want to you feel at certain times that you want to maybe escape to something better but you know like how it can feel like you're kind of trapped when you're growing up a little bit.
Mm,
So I think it's a really kind of like nice kind of exploration of those themes a little bit. And I think, interestingly, this song is like a synthesizer in it, I believe. So that's kind
mm,
of a rare thing for a Smith song. I can't remember if it's a synthesizer or a keyboard, but usually it's like a piano or like lots of acoustic type instruments. You know, like electric guitar, like lots of like natural instruments in Smith songs.
mhm.
So, but I think the synthesizer is nice. I think it adds like a nice texture to the song. It's a cool addition. I'm all for it.
Huh.
Yeah. And then
Mm.
we got Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others. What do you think of this song, Emma?
Well, uh, I'll say, well, the beginning in the song, like when it fades in and out, it sort of creates like a nice intro for the rest of the song, even though like I read somewhere that apparently it was put in by engineers. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know. But
Oh,
so
as in like a mistake, or just that the
well, it said it was put there so that the recording couldn't be used, but it was
Oh,
used it was used anyway, like as a mistake or something.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I'll say it was a little repetitive, but also like catchy at the same time in terms of like lyrics for the chorus part. Um, Also, I'll add that Morrissey seemed to like make the lyrics mean much more than they seem to at first glance. You know, if that makes any sense.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
What were you gonna say?
that's what I. That's what
Oh,
I
that's
just.
all you were gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think a lot of people. I think I've actually had people like tell me that like why do you like the lyrics to the song, because it seems like it's like fat shaming or something, or like kind of like making fun of like fat girls. But I don't think so at all. I think it's more like celebrating different body types. Like
Mm.
it's not saying that like you're weird or it's immoral to be a little fat. Like, it's just saying some girls are bigger than others. It's just like a observation. It's like saying some boys have blonde hair and some boys have brown hair. You know, it's just kind of like a
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's just like kind of like a celebration of like people's differences. I think that's what I think of the song. I don't think it's any kind of like there's nothing in the lyrics that makes me think it's like a mockery of like fat people or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know legendarily though that what the way that the Smiths write is for the most part is Johnny will come up with a guitar or something, and he'll send like Morrissey a recording, or he'll play it for him, and then Morrissey will think about it for a while and then come up with some lyrics. So it's not, most of the time it's not like a co-writing process in the traditional sense, like they both sit together and write like that. So when Morrissey came up with the lyrics for the song, Johnny was kind of like dumbfounded because he thought they were really kind of like stupid and he didn't like them. Um, and I don't know how he feels nowadays, but I think he's still kind of neutral. And but I think even though it's a kind of a funny phrase for a song and a title, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a
Yeah.
nice. I think he
Mm-hmm.
does a nice job vocally, and I just think it's close to my favorite song in this album. I think it's just a really gorgeous guitar part, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Oh, you know what? I was gonna let me go on. I'm just gonna look it up really quick. I was gonna look at the chart placings for the Queen instead, but I didn't include that in my notes. So one second here, lads. Okay, okay. Just because I feel like a little time capsule thing.
Yeah.
So
It's worth knowing.
charts. All right. So in Europe, it ranked 19 when it came out. So pretty good ranking.
Mm.
In Canada, which is where I am from, the Great White North, it ranked 28. In it's really interesting to see like the difference in rankings it got in the UK and the US. So in the US Billboard 200 when it came out, it got 70, and then in the UK hit number two. So really interesting.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
I think like XTC or the Jam, I think like the Smiths are really like British e band. So like just what they sing about and their kind of like style and their sound. I think it really like it's very like English orientated. So I
Yeah.
think it kind of like there's a certain kind of like fan base that it appeals to, but I think largely I can understand why they didn't maybe catch on in America. Like a band like I don't know what else. Trying to like some other think of some other British bands that did pretty good in the '80s. Um, like Depeche Mode or
Yep.
Duran Duran, like those
Mm.
caught on in the States. But I think like if they're a little, I think if certain bands can seem like too caught up in like their own like country a little bit. Like it's hard to market their sound for other areas, but
Mm.
occasionally it works. Like I know that like Japan is like notoriously kind of a weird place for bands because like they either like do a really great job or the Japan just like doesn't see the appeal. It's pretty interesting country that way. But yeah,
Mm.
let's see. So what other listings we got for the charts? So Germany got to number 45, and New Zealand pretty good placing number 17. and I like how they just have like all sorts of like different countries for the album charts here in Wikipedia. Number 11 in Greece, number 33 in Germany. Yeah, interesting. So this might be the highest charting like Smith's album in general. So I think it's probably what most people are introduced to, and it's a pretty good like introduction to the sounds. I think. I don't know if you've listened to like all their albums, Emma, but for me, this is maybe like my third favorite. And saying that, I might sound like I don't really like it that much, but I think each of the Smiths albums are really great. I think I would probably say like their debut, like the self-titled one, is probably my first, and then second is like Mia's Murder, and then this one, The Queen is Dead, and then Strange Ways. So, do you feel like you'd want to listen to more Smiths albums after this to like learn about the sound a bit more and like
Yeah,
their
sure, for
yeah,
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Hopefully, you had fun listening to us ramble and rants, and thanks for putting up with us through our awkward pauses and whatnot. So hopefully, we'll think of what album we want to listen to next time. And this is us signing out. Thanks for listening to the Pop Kids.
Didn't you want to? Don't we do like the thing where you
we
want
gotta do a recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You go first. I'll see if I can think about it. That's good you had that planned.
Okay, well, I guess I will go with, what was it? Quartet by Ultravox.
You know what? I don't think I've ever listened to that album.
Really?
I've listened to Vienna by Ultravox, and I've listened to Ha Ha Ha. I think that's the title. I think maybe I might know some songs by Quartet, but anyway, continue.
Yeah, I'll say I don't, well, I don't know Ultravox, like, I don't know much of their discography like that, but I know that's like, I know a whole bunch of their songs just from that album, and I think it's pretty good. It's like a really synthy sounding, dancey kind of album, and quite a bit of my favorite songs are on that album. So I recommend it to people who are like into synth pop and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the track listing. I know you like Reap the Wild Wind a lot, and you
Yep.
like in Blue. You like those quite a bit, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, I'll try and get that listed sometime and get
Yeah.
back to you. And hope if you don't, if you've never heard of Ultravox, give that a listen too. Ultravox is pretty interesting because I know like two really big names came out of it. Like there's John Fox, who later went on to like a solo career, and then there's Midori, who also did solo stuff. So I think like a band like maybe like Genesis or something, like there's different periods of the band where different people were more like different band members were more in like influencing the sound, and like being the song. So
Yeah.
fascinating band in that way. I think I know which album I want to recommend. I think I'll recommend Just for a Day, which is the first album by Slowdive, and I think it's a really good like shoegaze and like kind of like dream pop album. For those of you that haven't heard Slowdive, they're influenced a lot by like Susie and the Banshees and like the Jesus and Mary Chain and the Velvet Underground, and they kind of mixed all those with like what was happening in the Creation record label. So like bands like My Bloody Valentine and Ride and that kind of thing. And I think it's just a really cool period in music. And that album, that label has a lot of cool artists in general. There's another band on that label called Adorable that I always show to Emma. And I think they're really underrated. They're from England too. So if you ever want to check them out, Adorable is really good. Homeboy, Sunshine Smile, and Submarine are some of my favorite Adorable songs. So maybe you guys can give them a listen. But yeah, Just for a Day's got some great songs. I think it's got a lot of variety and just some lovely guitars and production in that album. So yeah, thanks for listening. And this is me saying bye. Do you want to say bye to the listeners too, Emma?
Okay. Bye bye.